I'm Felipe. I lead new partnerships for CEMEA, which includes Central Europe.
And I'm Rami, so I work with top developers in CEMEA as well on advising them on their monetization strategy, but also kind of strategic consulting on their business model.
Yeah, and so the whole idea is today we want to share what we've learned from working with the top developers and how they integrate their monetization strategy to the user experience. First of all, we've been working for the past 4 years in business development, helping developers realize the full potential of mobile. At Google, what we do is we help developers grow and fund their passion, which is basically building great games, so you can keep on building the great games. As this is a developer conference, we wanted to share our favorite titles, favorite mobile titles. For myself, I'm crazy addicted to Device 6, if anyone knows it, Monument Valley, which is absolutely beautiful, and Field Runners 2. This is more an inheritance from PC, but it's very nice in mobile. And for Rami, he's a speed addict, so Traffic Rider, Hill Climb Racer 2, and Duolingo, which is the app for languages. Is it working?
So Duolingo, I'm learning Spanish actually, and it's a nice gamified way. And I recently discovered that Duolingo, at the same time that you learn a language, you're also actually translating like content on the web for like other people, which is like a double win. And Sonercar, like the Sonercar game, Traffic Rider, is if you sit next to me on a plane, you're probably gonna suffer because I'm always playing that game. So yeah, just a bit about my apps.
Yeah. Okay, so enough about that. Let's dig right into it. Essentially, what we're seeing so far is that the economy of the apps is maturing, where the net number of smartphone users it's actually decreasing, and this in turn has begun to slow down and will eventually flatten the number of downloads. However, at the same time, what we're seeing is that app usage and revenue is starting to increase, and we're seeing an expansion, starting to increase in exponential expansion. What this really means is that users are actually not downloading as many apps as they did before, but the positive thing is that they're using the apps that they have more often. And more important, they're actually investing more in these apps. So for this new mobile era, it's very important for game developers such as yourself to be on top of monetization since day one. This is the next trend that's going to dominate the mobile game developer industry. Monetization currently has many phases, right? So there's many models out there. Typical models are in-app purchases, which is very popular among games. We have subscriptions, we have advertisements, we have pay to download, or even certain offer worlds. The fact that we have so many different models as there just proves that there isn't one out-of-the-box formula for monetization. Each of these monetization models has its own failure and success cases, so it's all about how the developer decides how to use them and where to use them. Moreover, when working with developers, we did a survey among top developers, and we discovered that most of them actually diversify their business model. This means that instead of having one monetization strategy, they mix and match. So they either, for example, they do in-app purchases with subscription, or they do ads with in-app purchases as well. Which means that, first of all, the monetization model is fragmented. Like, as you see, there's no one dominant model, but at the same time, this means that the mix and match strategy is what actually bringing more revenue and more value to developers. And for games, I think it's a bit easier because it's pretty clear. You need to have, for certain, in-app purchases, or actually both, hard and soft currencies, and minimum ads, either native or rewarded. So if usage will be the next driver for apps, and if there isn't an out-of-the-box monetization model, this is where actually developers need to get creative on their business model, and they need to start thinking about moments. And this is where the monetization moments comes into play. So so there's the typical statistics that says that users use their mobile phone 150 times a day. And I'm going to pair it with another figure, which says that there's an average total time spent per day is 177 minutes. This means that users, in average, use their phone for 1 minute and 10 seconds. At the end, what we're looking at is we're wondering what are users doing during this small burst of digital activity. And what they're actually doing is they're consuming moments, right? A moment is the way and the most natural way we consume our or how we use our mobile. So a moment is the moment I decide to make a call. The moment is a moment where I need to check my phone to look for a location. The moment is where I'm texting a friend, or the moment is even playing the game. And these are the most important. This is the main reasons why users use smartphones. And in fact, these are the moments that we shouldn't be interrupting. As this is the main reason, the user has a very specific purpose, and we shouldn't be disrupting them from the main use, right? But at the same time, as we have moments, we have micro moments. The micro moments are the in-between moments. So this is in between calls or in between texts. Is you take your phone out and you're searching for a new place to have lunch. You take your phone out while you're walking. You want to learn how to do something on YouTube, and so on. So it's all about these micro moments. These micro moments actually tell us that the user is willing and it's open to do an activity, or to be helped, or to be supported in something. And why moments work? We did, with another company, did a study about emotional response in moments. And what we discovered, which is pretty obvious, but it still is good to have the data, that they were tracking the emotional response of a user that was playing a game while they were in the game, and then when they hit an achievement moment. The results are pretty obvious. The user is absolutely fulfilled, absolutely static about reaching this achievement moment. The most logical thing we can do there is to match it with something relevant for the user, something that has an intent, and something that will help the developer monetize, or will help the developer create value for themselves as well. At the end, what we're seeing is that moments garner measurable emotional response, and this creates a very positive association with the app or with the brand that we're showing. For Google, our moments are very straightforward. So we're a basic search company. For us, it's all about the I want to know, I want to go, I want to do, and I want to buy moments. This is the moments where the user is open and is interested to learn some information, and we're there to try to help them. We'll try to guide them. And in terms of user experience, we have a term, and it's called the golden path or the happy path. When you actually understand what the moment is and what the user is trying to do, and then you connect it with an action or an activity that the app is trying to give. So in this case, what we see there is that for the I'm intrigued moment at Google, what we have is we want to show them something. We want them to see something. For the new day, new me moment, we want them to think about something. For the help me buy moment, it's all about helping them do, right? And the for what else is there moment is showing them something that we care. And what about games, right? So games, obviously the achievement moment is the most logical moment. This is the moment that we see and that actually users may be playing to reach this moment. And this moment is very trackable. Right now, tools like Firebase, for example, which help you track on an events-based, will help you to allow to identify all of the moments in your app, and then you can start to make decisions on that. Typical moments can be either starts the game, finish the tutorial, finish certain level, an average time, the average time per session, and so on. So it's all about depending on the game, and it's all about depending on the app, and the user experience that you're designing. And for games, as well as I showed you, there were moments. For games are full of micro moments. And if the moment in games is the achievement moment, the micro moments in games are just everything else, or everything in between. So think about that extreme moment where you just finish a level 1 second before the time ran out. Or a strict moment. This is the moment you've been passing levels, you're on the 5th level as well, you're absolutely static. Or even a spiritual moment when you're like one-in-one with your avatar, right? So these are all measurable moments that appear in your games and that happen constantly in your games, and we can create a golden path or a happy path that will make them, or that developers can use them to monetize, right? So if there's an extreme moment, we have an opportunity for the user to unlock something new. If it's a big moment, we have the opportunity to give the user something else, to earn something. Or if it's an extreme moment as well, he's just about to lose, this is a moment where we can give him something that will help him survive. Or if it's just the everyday moment, it's just the normal interaction with that. And a very specific way and a very straightforward way to do this is how native ads and how rewarded ads capture these achievement moments and allow you to monetize from a developer perspective and to add value to the user. My colleague Rami will tell you more details on how to do that.
So thank you, Felipe. After a walk through the beautiful moments of your day, I'm going to bring you down to earth and tell you actually what's happening in the industry. The way I like to speak at conferences is not necessarily tell you how amazing Google products are, which they are, but I like to share more the expertise of what I see in the industry of how people use ads to monetize their apps. And so the first kind of bucket I'd like to discuss is native ads, what we call native ads. And the reason we call them native ads is because it basically the ads look kind of native, like a native experience through the app, right? So it's not like your traditional banner that it doesn't matter what kind of app you have, the banner would look still the same banner in any kind of app. So with native ads, it's basically the ability to really customize different elements of the ad in order to make it look like the app itself. And the key here is not to actually trick users, but actually to make it more enjoyable for people to see certain ads in your app. So here's just kind of explaining the difference between the typical banner ad, which you get the creatives from the advertiser, and then you just paste it in your app, and it looks the same. Whereas with native ads, you kind of control all the elements, and through AdMob or other platforms, you can customize the ad experience and plug it in your app. And here are some examples actually of some partners we work with that use native ads really nicely. So in the first one, you see actually they use the element of the app itself, the character of the app. It's like he's kind of talking to you and a kind of a bubble down there, and there's an install button for another game. This is one of my favorites. It's actually a Music Match. It's a lyrics app. So whenever you're you're listening to any kind of music on your phone, it actually pops up this bubble head with the lyrics of the app. But then what they did also is pop another bubble head and show you a different ad, which is really kind of a intuitive and seamless experience through the app itself. They didn't use anything very intrusive. Like Felipe was saying, you shouldn't cut kind of the user from their experience in your app. And this is just kind of to put it into numbers. There's a case study of this app that it's kind of like IQ games. And basically, they use these native ads to customize the color, basically, and the font and the background to the app. And they saw really, really strong results compared to traditional banner ads. And so that's kind of talking about native ads in general. The second bucket I'd like to discuss is basically what we call rewarded ads. So it's kind of the concept behind it is when the user is doing something in the game, and then you kind of reward them with something in the game by watching a video, right? So it could be, so the whole concept behind it is kind of it's a triple win for everyone and then every stakeholder. So for the users, it's kind of more engaging, it's not intrusive, and it's usually like opt-in. For advertisers, you actually reach the engaged users at the right times. And then for publishers, it's obviously higher CPMs because it's video formats. And then you actually improve retention. So this is, who knows Poo here? Probably a lot of you know Poo. So fun fact about Poo, 1 in every 4 people in Spain has Poo installed. And Poo, the creator of Poo is Paul. He's actually a friend of mine from university. And so he created the game in like 3 months. And then he started generating money as much as I earn in 1 month, in 1 day. We're still friends. So this is my personalized Poo. So Poo is kind of like Tamagotchi style. You kind of feed him, you clean him if you ignore him because he shits everywhere. And then you can play games inside the app itself. So what Poo did is basically whenever you're playing a game with him and you fail a certain level or something, and then you really want to continue. So what he did is, so I hit a wall here and then I lost. So what I can actually do is watch a short video to earn more coins. And the more coins I earn, the more I can buy broccoli and sushi to feed him or like buy new glasses for him. So it's kind of really complementary usually to in-app purchase models, right? So instead of buying something in the app, a lot of people actually have this they're really like against buying stuff in app. And depending on which statistic you look at, usually like 1 to 5% of people spend in apps. So the rewarded ads is kind of very complementary and can be a really nice teaser for people who don't want to buy something in your app. You show them kind of a glimpse of what can be achieved by buying something. But at the same time, it shouldn't be priced as much as what they can buy. So another good example is Traffic Rider, the one I play on airplanes, and usually I nudge people. So there's a few kind of ways that Sonar implemented these ads. So one is by, if you go to the gifts icon, he basically gives you rewards for following him on Facebook or Twitter, or gives you gold if you watch a video. So this is kind of a very simple kind of integration. But then really the catchy one is when you're riding like your motorcycle and then you don't dodge the truck, in which case I didn't dodge it here. You kind of fail, but you really want to get that high score in. So you can either pay 1 gold coin, but if you're out of money and your dad didn't give you your credit card, you can watch a video and then you can continue playing. And the interesting thing here is, it's again very important to know how to price that gold coin versus the video, because the next time you fail in the same level, you are actually not able to see the video and you have to pay 3 gold coins. So the more you lose, actually, the more you actually want to continue, and then the more pricey it becomes for you to continue. So it's there's a very thin line of threshold where you have to know how much to price a video versus something you can buy. So it should generally tend to be less than what you can pay for, and it should be like kind of a teaser. And what we've seen actually is rewarded ads really complement in-app purchases in the sense that people who like apps who have rewarded ads end up having more in-app purchases as well. And yeah, this finally to summarize kind of very briefly what Felipe and I talked about. So in general, in terms of business models, there is no like one size fits all for any like app. It's basically the more hybrid you are, the more diversified, the less risk you have of relying on one income source. Second, we learn how to capture the beautiful moments in life. And then on the practical level, native and rewarded ads are really the next kind of generation of mobile advertising.